just got real!
Nothing like slapping a bulldozer in Payday 2, but hey, can you slap the shit out of one of them so much that it takes every single bit of health they have in one single shot? Hello one and all, and welcome back to the second and final part of the Can I one-hit a bulldozer with something and make them say
Oh, fuck!
If you missed the version where I searched the weapon banks for a viable one-hit killer, then please make sure you check out that video and see how I made a grown man wearing an oversized Teletubby armor suit crying their cornflakes at the tap of a button. Today we are revisiting the 2017 one melee Dozer killer build, but I think I can actually redo this one a little bit more streamlined and not as dramatic. Back in 2017 I went in waving a massive flagpole and hiding cautiously in a storage room waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Today I say fuck it and let's go out there and just swipe at these motherfuckers and see what happens. As we all know at this point that there are quite a few melee weapons in Payday 2. In fact, there are 93 of them. Holy shit. There's even a couple of perk decks that lend themselves to melee with some melee strengthening aspects. What we will look at today, however, is how you can implement a one-hit Dozer melee function into any goddamn build you want and not have to use a shitty perk deck in order to do it. Before we start, we do need to know what we need to achieve with our damage output. So what are we dealing with here? Our friendly bulldozers all carry a health of 24,000 on death sentence, except for the headless who has 12,000 and the minigun who has a massive 48,000. So it will be this big guy who we go after, so let's go get him.
I'm screwed!
As far as skills are concerned here, there are a few compared to what we did for the weapon variant. For weapons, we indulged in the overkill skill for a 75% damage boost, but this doesn't work with melee. Then we did critical hits with unseen strike. This is very situational, percentage based, and gives you a short narrow window of time to execute. It's an option with melee hits, but we will not bother with it at this time either. Remember, however, if your build does include critical hits, then this can definitely work in your favor. We also dipped into high value target last time, but again we will not touch it here. What we will look at, however, is Pumping Iron Ace, giving us a 100% melee damage increase against regular and special enemies. Bloodthirst Basic, each regular weapon kill you get stores a 100% damage boost all the way up to 1600%, giving you a huge damage bonus on the melee hit when you finally get to unleash it. This resets with a melee kill. Finally is our Berserker friend, in basic form at minimum here, up to 250% extra damage on our melee relative to our health. Once our health drops below the 50%, that's when we engage this skill. Having 0% health would give us the 250% increase, and then it's a sliding scale all the way to half health. For reference, if you take the Frenzy skill with this, which caps your max health at 30%, that would automatically give you a 100% damage boost in this case. If you damage yourself further than that, then you can obviously reach the 250%. And that's it, that's all we need here, just 12 skill points. Seems pretty viable to be able to slot into any build that you like. The final piece of the puzzle is of course the melee itself. What base damage does it need to do in order to multiply it with these skills to take down the big fella himself? Well, let's take a look. First off, some basic melee information. Melee weapons have a basic damage and then a charged melee attack damage. You will see on the stats that there is a charge time for the charge attack. This is just purely the time it takes to fully coil up your melee attack for the max damage it can possibly do. Then there is of course range, concealment and knockdown stats, of which I won't delve into today as this is not a deep dive into melee mechanics. Just know that there are some melees that have more damage, some have quicker charge times, some have more range and some are ready to swipe a second time quicker than others. As I always preach, go with what you like the most, but today we'll explore the ones that have the ability to one-hit the big guys. As far as that damage stat here, once you equip the Pumping Iron skill, you will see the skill portions show an equal amount to the 100% increase from the skill, effectively doubling the damage for both regular and charged hits. The highest damage melees all share the same stats as far as the damage goes, and it's a 70 damage base and a 450 charged. Of the 93 melee weapons, only 15 have this damage, and I'll show you all of these later in the video. This naturally leads us into talking about how the stacking of the skills work with this damage output. The katana is a lot of people's favourites and nicely sits in the list of highest damage melee weapons, so we'll use that in these examples. First off, you can see a regular hit with a katana and then a charged hit with no skills, delivering 70 and 450 respectively. Then we add the Pumping Iron Ace skill with its 100% increase, so now we see the 140 and 900, regular then charged. Next we introduce the Bloodthirst stacks. One Bloodthirst charge kill does its 100% job, doubling a hit from 140 now to 280. Then from there, it's an extra 140 damage per hit up to the maximum of 1600%, resulting in a max damage of 2240 damage. Remember, this is the katana with no charge, just a regular swing. What is interesting about this skill is that it only resets with a melee kill, not a melee itself. So if you charge the Bloodthirst skill with, let's say, 6 kills, every melee you hit after that will deliver the 980 damage, in this case, until you reset it with a kill.
I killed the cloaker.
The last part of this now is the Berserker aspect and its scalability. This comes next in line and applies directly to what you've already stored up with Bloodthirst, including the bonus from Pumping Iron. For example, if we use the Frenzy skill as the benchmark, as it auto puts us at 30 health, which equates to the 100% damage boost with Berserker, this is essentially applying a 100% damage boost to anything we achieve with Pumping Iron and Bloodthirst activated. So now a max Bloodthirst damage no charge katana hit grants us a solid 4480, enough to kill every special enemy except a bulldozer on death sentence in one hit, and can easily slash a bulldozer in 6 fast hits.
Dozer is dead.
The next simple thing to do here is to now start to apply the charge melee hits into this equation, exaggerating these numbers by quite some margin. To get to the 24,000 needed for the regular bulldozer, it doesn't actually require us to maximize the Bloodthirst skill to get the one-hit kill, as we reach 25,000 damage with just 13 weapon kills. This is of course with Berserker being set at the 100% damage by using the Frenzy skill as that benchmark I mentioned.
The Dozer is dead.
Meaning at this point, to give an example, a 6 weapon kill charge on the Bloodthirst skill will make the katana give 12,600 damage, leaving bulldozers a 2-hit charge melee kill at that time.
I killed the Dozer.
The sad part of this is that Bloodthirst actually runs out for us at a maximum of 28,800 damage when fully charged using the katana, with a charged melee hit and Berserker at a 100% increase, meaning that we do have to dip a little lower on the scale of health in order to activate more of the Berserker skill. It's only when we get to the highest parts of the Berserker skill that we can actually one-hit a 48,000 health of a minigun Dozer. As you can see here on screen, I'm almost utilizing the full potential of Berserker and achieving more than 48,000 damage with Bloodthirst stacked up to its max and Pumping Iron. To know the exact damage output here would be to say that we achieve the full Berserker boost on a full Bloodthirst charge and we would get a little over 50,000 damage. Not too far over the Dozer's 48,000 health, but far enough to do it.
Good night, sweet Dozer.
We can take a quick look at these skills on the skill trees and see the very small impact they actually have on an overall build. In fact, a lot of builds already utilize Berserker Ace for weapon damage increases, so this utility of one-hitting bulldozers fits right in with pretty much any build you already use Berserker with. You're left with 108 skill points after this measly 12 just to get this function. As far as what melee weapons can actually achieve the damage required here to take out the minigun Dozer, well, here they come. Pounder, Chain Whip, Ice Pick, Rezkoi, Kento's Tanto, Two-Handed Great Ruler, El Verdugo, Lumberlight L2, Pitchfork, Katana, Bearded Axe, Gold Fever, Great Sword, Spear of Freedom, and the Fire Axe. The last two things to mention here are in regards to headshots and critical hits. These can both be utilized within a build to achieve higher damage, but the critical hits are just too random and the headshots for bulldozers aren't registered until the faceplate is removed, so it kind of defeats the purpose a little. Just know that critical hits can be incorporated if you feel necessary, or if they're part of a build already, you put this in, then you would naturally get that option through it. Well, there we have it, a one-hit Dozer killer build to go along with any other build you may run. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.